Hello, welcome to Interchain Live. We are live talking about Vermont cryptocurrency movements, blockchain technology movements to get our residents up to date and up to speed, taking advantage of these wonderful technologies. Hopefully getting our legislature taking advantage of these technologies and the movement of this industry. What has been going on? Well, obviously, nobody's super psyched yet about movement of Bitcoin, but we've got to say it has settled in. So that is nice to see. It is not quite so volatile the past few days. Looks like it's building a base around 8,000, isn't really dipping down too much further. Pushing up close to 9,000 a couple times in the past couple days. But holding steady around the 85, 86, 87 mark. And the rest of the market really just kind of tagging along, right? As it tends to. Marketcap.com is showing over 400 billion total market cap. We're at 417 right now. So not too bad. We've stabilized after the crazy roller coaster rides. I hope everybody's made it through intact, hodled on through. You guys tonight, I believe I mentioned it last time, but Mana is live now. The Grant coin that is rebranded as Mana, which is aiming to generate a universal basic income solution. And you can register there. The first airdrop, it looks like, is going to be March 1st. Let's see here, Mana Base. And let's see if I can share with you guys the insider link here, of course. Pop that in there, and I'm going to pop that into the chat here for you. So that'll be, we'll pop that in there. And what else have we had going on? There's a number of states apparently looking to combine efforts and get some legislation passed to make it easier for the money transmission licenses across states lines, or money service business licenses, so that if a business in one of those states gets the license, then the other states would reciprocate without having to run through the same process for every state, which would be great. I don't see Vermont on that list yet, but hey, maybe we can get that into the conversation up there. Senate Bill 269 is moving along. I looked at a refreshed draft today. They've cleaned it up nicely. The blockchain-based LLC has some nice characteristics to it to provide some protection to miners and participants in a blockchain-based organization if we base it in Vermont. There's a definition there for a trust, personal information trust, which I think is a nice stepping stone to the identity-based, blockchain-based identity solutions. Ultimately, we need to get our identity protected by cryptography on open systems, so we're not dependent on anyone. But in the interim, we need to educate people, and the idea of a trust can help to create that barrier and provide that education of people why they need to be in control of their data. And once they start identifying the need for that and using trust for that reason, then they can transition over to using technology and math to protect their data instead of trusting another entity. But that, I think, is another step in the right direction. If we get that legislation passed, that'll open up some doors. It'll make a statement to the rest of the world what we're trying to do here in in Vermont as a tip of the spear. So conversation. We're not trying to shut anybody out. This is a very inclusive conversation here. We want to get as many minds as possible in on the solution and the progress on solutions for Vermont and for the rest of our country. Hopefully we can set the stage here and create a better environment moving forward, get some legislation passed that sets the right precedent, and hopefully look at some of the legislation going on around the country too. Wyoming's got some interesting stuff going on. They've got the HB70, I believe, and they've got a whole list of things that they've put in there, many to the benefit of cryptocurrency or blockchain or mining operations. Apparently there's some pretty inexpensive power over there. I've been finding more and more US-based mining operations, or mining, I should say, distributors, suppliers popping up. There's a lot of sketchy ones out there too, so be careful, folks. There's definitely people out there that are scamming, and but these companies are having a hard time with credit cards too. Credit card companies are starting to give people a hard time for anything crypto related. So if you're buying hardware, I guess they're calling that crypto related now. If you're trying to buy cryptocurrency mining rig and the name of the store has crypto in it, there might be some issues with some credit card companies. Not all, but plenty of credit cards. I've certainly got credit cards I've never had any issue with, but be aware of that there's a little friction going on in the financial world and the merchant services world when it comes to purchasing cryptocurrencies or related services. Desk and Coin Center, I seem to be getting a lot from Coin Center lately. There's been some good articles there. There was an article recently listing out the five real reasons why power consumption is not actually a concern for Bitcoin. Really, really good points, actually. I believe I even posted it up on Facebook. Let's see if we can pull that up real quick, because those were some excellent points that I think a lot of people easily get distracted by the whole power consumption thing. And it's pretty amazing when you think about how much power we use in various industries, and then to think that there's so much noise being made right now about cryptocurrency power consumption, when we're talking about a teeny tiny fraction of a percent of the global power consumption, whereas certain industries like, say, lighting use entire whole percentage points of power all over the world. And so it's amazing how much noise we're making about power consumption and cryptocurrency. I guess it's because people have this perception somehow that because it's not doing a lot of transactions now, that if suddenly Bitcoin were doing all the transactions in the world, how could it possibly sustain? But that's just a complete misperception of how the power is used in Bitcoin. It's not used per transaction. It doesn't really matter how many transactions Bitcoin is mining per se. The network's going to use the power the network uses, whether it's transacting one transaction or a million transactions. So it really doesn't make any difference in terms of scale, how much power, how many transactions are being confirmed. So, well, and Arizona wants your Bitcoin for taxes. Yeah, they'd love to receive your taxes. They're going to convert them in 24 hours to cash. So they'll create a deflationary a depressing pressure on the price. But if anybody's paying their taxes in Bitcoin, I hope you're replacing your Bitcoin, because that would be foolish to waste your money on taxes, unless all you have is Bitcoin, in which case, I suppose, by all means, pay with Bitcoin. Well, I can't find the power article. I'll have to look that up later, but I do see this great podcast. I've been listening a little bit called Unchained. Anybody has a chance to look that up? It was actually a Forbes podcast originally, but I believe that the woman who runs it has gone independent. But you can find it on TuneIn Radio, tunein.com. Unchained is a great, it's been a great podcast I've been listening to. There's a couple of recent interviews on there. One of them is an Argentinian man who was one of the first guys, I think, that was really advocating for Bitcoin. And he started Xapo, XAPO, which is a wallet and vault service. Pretty well-designed service. They provide custodial services for a variety of other Bitcoin-based service companies. I was looking at, somebody turned me on as I was looking at Manabase, the Grant Coin UBI solution. They're talking about Alaska. Alaska has had UBI for a long time, and doesn't amount to a ton, but it is a universal basic income, and apparently has not caused mass unemployment or underemployment either. So hopefully we can start moving this along, because otherwise, what are we going to do with all these robots taking our jobs? Let's see. A Porsche Speedster is being turned into tokens. Oh yeah, tokens. Everyone's crazy about tokens. What to expect when Congress talks about blockchain tomorrow? Well, that's a good question. There is an open forum, or there was an open forum last year in September. And there was quite a number of people that showed up, and the conversation was getting deep into various areas of government. They're starting to realize that it's going to eat their lunch too, just like it's eating the financial guy's lunch. They interviewed Oliver Goodenough, or the one about the title pilot up in South Burlington. There's a couple different things going on in Vermont, and hopefully they're going to be opening up another year of research from the Vermont Law School as well, and they'll continue looking at ways that blockchain technology can impact the state, or maybe even look at ways that we can help with energy regulation, tracking of climate, or tracking of natural resources. Yeah, the digital LLC, blockchain-based limited liability corporation. So that legislation is trying to create an umbrella, and what Oliver, I believe, he was quoted recently in talking about how it could be construed that any miner, token holder, or otherwise participant in a particular blockchain project could be considered a general partner just by matter of fact. They are participating in a joint venture of some kind. And so therefore they're open up to personal liability in a general partnership. So the blockchain-based limited liability corporation designation would give a limited liability entity that would be able to shelter those miners and other participants of an organization, of a decentralized organization. And there's some key verbiage in there that recognizes the software-based or blockchain-based nature of consensus mechanisms, governance structures, token issuance, things like that. Provides a little bit of tax exemption as well for from Title 32 taxation. And like I said, it's a stepping stone. It gives us a step in the right direction of creating a framework and potentially inviting some of these really brilliant minds and projects to Vermont as a home base to hopefully get the fruits of those labors up front here, and sort of spearhead some of these operations. South Korea mulls bit license style rules for crypto exchanges. Oh, that worked out great for New York. They've got what, 3 entities in New York with a license. Yeah, that's why we want to make it easy for these companies to do business in Vermont. Oh yeah, decentralized identity. Microsoft's got a project going on with decentralized ID. That's really interesting because that could really open up the identity ecosystem and make it very streamlined and skip the whole development process of getting the state on board with something, but just open the door from a tried and true player in the game like Microsoft. And CFTC and SEC had a great conversation a little while back. There's some more conversations going on. I guess the tech advisors are talking crypto and blockchain this week. But the SEC and CFTC chairman got together and had a conversation too that came out very positive. One of them talking about their kid owning cryptocurrencies, and basically the general consensus being that they ought to be respectful of this generation's desire to utilize these tools.
Day volume, it's getting kind of low here. Interesting. Is it getting ready to go up or down? It's been trading sideways for a couple of days, right? Let's compare the volume over the past 6 months. So heaviest volume in history here. 616,000 Bitcoins traded in a one-day period. That was back when price went down. Usually you see the biggest volume on the down days. So is that the 6th, maybe the 5th? All right. And yeah, and then you'll see it start to dip down. So if you go back, look at, let's see, right here. So there's a few days before it really spiked in December. And let's see, go back in November. There's another dip in November. So hopefully this is a good sign that it's going to really start coming back. And the other thing I like about this site is the combined order book. Anybody's familiar with an order book and how that works, this gives you a visual of actually the orders on the books that this is connected with, which are most of the largest exchanges. And you can see how much it would take, how much movement is required in the market to move the price. And you can adjust this too to get a sense to move the price 10%, how much is required. So 4,342 Bitcoins would have to be sold on BitMEX in order to move the price 10%. Interesting to watch this. You can see it change in real time. All right. Well, I don't see anyone else on here. I think it's time to wrap this up tonight, folks. Stay tuned. I will not be connected next week, I don't believe. May depend on timing. I might try to squeeze on here, but we'll see if it gets posted. But it probably, I'm going to be in Texas at the blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum blockchain super conference. So, oh, that was one of the things I wanted to put out there. If anybody is interested, I happen to have some press passes. So for Interchain, we can get a couple extra heads in there. If anybody knows someone in the area and wants to reach out, shoot me an email at ryan@interchain.live. And thank you, those of you who signed on tonight. And I'm going to disconnect here. You have a good night. Good luck this week, and look forward to talking to you again soon.